Is it fair to say that everything is thought?
Everything is thought, in the sense that everything is vibration or everything is energy.
And thought is vibration.
But every thought that was ever thought, and this is really the answer to your question and the satisfying key point, and first time we've ever said this, summation of all of this. Every thought that has ever been thought still exists, but it does not exist in its original form, because it cannot.
It's tuning fork, it resonates
more. Because every thought that exists now has a vibrational frequency that is coming together with other thoughts that are like it, and is being compared by other thoughts that are opposite it. So the thought, just like the creator, is knowing what it wants, knowing what it doesn't want. Every thought has at its basis the presence of wanted and unwanted. Every thought. And so theoretically, it is easy and accurate to surmise that if we want to go back to something that we call a beginning thought, it existed in its presence and absence. And the combination of those two things caused it to become more. Does that make sense to you in some way? And then law of attraction just goes from there. But it is ever so much more satisfying to finally let go of needing to know what was before. In fact, science and medicine and all things would move forward into satisfaction, which is the only reason that forward matters at all, forward into satisfaction much more quickly if fewer people would be looking back, if more people could be present. And that really is what this conversation brings satisfyingly forward for all of us. We relish the idea of more of our physical friends grasping the concept that all that you've been and all that everyone you know who loves you is forward in this moment with you, chiming in, inspiring, approving, including, part of your moment. And that if you are wise enough to tend to the frequency of your being by not finding fault, by not feeling lack, by reaching for the best feeling thought that you can find as consistently and as often as you can, that you will find yourself tuned to the frequency of so much help. It's that leverage that we've been talking about for all these years. There is a leverage in alignment that you just don't have access to without it. Without alignment, you're giving up all of this assistance, not completely, because you're never cut off from it. But then you have to rely more on your physical activities in order to move things around. And at best, it is mediocre and unproductive. But when you tune to the frequencies of who you really are, and you allow yourself to feel the enthusiasm. Esther was somewhat concerned, as Jerry was always sitting here making the notes from the seminars, and she loved following the seminar. He would spend the following many, many hours just looking through his notes and adjusting them more and making more notation, because he was always looking for the information for the subscription programs, for the best of Abraham, for the quote clips. He was always looking for pieces that he could present to those who didn't have as much time as he did to move through the material. And so Esther was concerned that she couldn't think of anyone that she wanted to do that. Everyone who's close to her is already busy and doing what they're doing. And so she worried a little bit that she didn't know how she was going to accomplish that. And she was delighted to discover that she is really, 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 really good at it. And the reason that she is really, 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 really good at it is because she relaxes, and Jerry's right there doing it with her. And he was already really, 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 really good at it. You see what we're getting at? In other words, you are not ever alone. You are not on your own. You are always supported. You just have to tune to the frequency that allows this brilliance, this infinite intelligence, this all-knowingness, this endless love. You just have to tune into the frequency of that and allow all of it that has always been forward with you in this powerful now. Jerry read Seth before he met us. And Seth was being expressed by Jane Roberts at the time. They never met them personally. They only found the books afterward. And Seth said, you create your own reality. And Jerry loved the idea of that. How is that so? And we've spent all of these years talking about that. And Seth said, your point of power is in the present. And that's what Seth was talking about. But we're talking about it so much more fully, so much more specifically, so much more intricately. This is what Jerry wanted to know. And this is what he now understands fully. And so does Esther. And so do you as a result of this conversation. Really good.
Thank you. Thank you.